Okay guys, welcome back to the Putter Studio. It's been a while.
It has been a while.
We've not been over here for a little bit, so we have a good reason to be here. We're going to review the putters we just got in the store a couple of weeks ago. People may have heard of directed force putters in the past. Probably most famously used in sort of, in the spotlight when Adam Scott was using it.
I think that's what the majority of people saw on TV would have been with him.
Obviously, once you see it, the first thing you notice is visually very different.
For sure,
but the question is it just another high MOI, large-headed, slightly odd-looking putter?
Yeah. True enough.
Okay, so we're going to run through a couple of different things with it. We're going to talk a little bit to the technology. You've got a really cool, it comes with a really neat little fitting tool.
Absolutely.
Which comes as part of our pack as sort of authorized dealers of the product. So why don't we kind of talk
let's
through
do
that?
this, because this is the first step. This is what you would do if anyone's even, if you're going to go test, you would do that here. Like if someone wants to come in demo days, they have this. It's basically a fitting putter.
Exactly. It's exactly what it is. So it's extendable.
It's extendable. It can go left or right-handed.
That's really, I really
which is
like
smart,
that.
isn't it? Yeah. Well, the thing is so it's perfectly symmetrical.
That's the whole idea.
I hope I'm not wrong saying that, but
I
think it
is.
is.
It's 100%
weights on both sides.
Yeah.
So you can. I'm going to putt right-handed for today, just for the purposes of the
Simplicity.
video.
The idea when it comes to this would be that you don't have to tilt the head to put the handle where you want it.
And that's the biggest difference. Yeah. We've loosened this a bit. If you sole the putter,
right.
My hands could be as high in the air as you want.
Yeah, let me steal these for a second. Yeah. You get yourself super comfortable.
Okay.
Okay, so let's see where you're at. So, idea being, you can find your comfort from a posture standpoint, and then
if I go here, it's still soling the putter.
That's
it. We just have to get into the right spot.
Okay.
So this is a bit short, but
we'll come in, just tighten this up. And that's the other thing. We'll talk to the length aspect of it in a second. Okay, Matty boy. So that is firmly fixed in place now.
Good.
So in terms of the length, obviously at that length, you've got in the front here a little gauge. So you normally play your putters at 35, so that's where we've got that there.
Which makes sense.
The putter can go anywhere from, on this, can go anywhere from 31 up to 45.
Yeah, you had it almost like chin height.
Yeah, it can go literally as high as you want. So again, all sorts of different posture styles can be catered to with the telescopic element of the shaft, which is really, really neat.
It is. It's
I
a
love
great
that.
idea.
Okay, right. Set yourself into it. We're going to test and see exactly where that
where the line goes.
We've got our little level box here. This again comes with the kit. Okay, so that for you right now is sitting at 72 degrees. Okay,
so that's a little more upright than, what does the standard putter come at usually?
70 or 71 depending on the company.
So just a little bit more upright.
So you're a fraction more upright than that. So fairly standard stuff. Nothing too unusual. So that's a really neat little way where you can kind of simplify the sort of fitting element of what do you want length, what lie angle. Now, I don't think it always is as simple as where do you want to stand.
Yeah.
I don't think everything's should be that way. I think there's parts of it. Just because you like your hands low doesn't mean it's the right thing for you if you're standing too far away from the golf ball.
Yeah.
It also means that if we can get people in a better position if we want their sort of wrist position to be slightly different.
Right.
We can encourage that with the setup, which I like. But here's where the sort of technology lies. As I sort of do that, you can see how easily the head spins.
Right.
So the head is perfectly balanced to the shaft. So L.A.B, obviously lie angle balanced putters is what we're dealing with here. So if we take, for example, a standard putter and kind of we flip it like that, you can see the weight of the club head wants to torque the head in a certain direction.
For sure. Yeah.
This doesn't want to do that. No. This has zero bias towards torquing in any direction, which basically means the club face can stay more neutral than a regular putter. So that's the design, that's the philosophy behind the putter in general, which makes a lot of sense.
It does,
yeah. And if you look at the the sort of addition to putting of large grips, super stroke grips, heavier putter heads. All these things are kind of trying to reduce the forces and stabilize the putter.
Right.
Up true. The MOI, all these sorts of things. And these guys have came along and go, well, that's exactly what our putter does. That's exactly what we do. So
it's just a different way of achieving it than the other, I guess, putters that we tried.
And L.A.B would argue that theirs is the most neutral way of having a neutral torque putter.
Right.
Okay. So I want to roll a few with you and see what this all means.
Because I think it'll present itself in the data pretty clearly. Yeah. You'll be looking for things like how consistent is the face angle delivery, how consistent is the path,
definitely.
I guess arc and things like that.
Well, I mean, when the guys at L.A.B will kind of overlay. They obviously, when you put the putter in what they call the revealer, which is where there's zero pressure or force applied to the grip.
Yeah, it's just hanging.
Just literally hangs in the sort of little apparatus. You can see that the putter face stays perfectly neutral versus a normal putter which wants to kind of torque open all the time. Now, the question everyone always asks is, well, when you hold it and you apply pressure to the grip, does that not cancel that out?
Yeah.
We'll see.
We'll find out. Yeah.
I mean, that's the beauty of Quintic, is that we are measuring things like the rate of rotation. We're measuring, how square the club face comes back, how consistent, all these sort of delivery parameters are being produced.
Yep.
We just want to recreate the same consistent stroke time after time.
For sure, especially for someone that isn't practicing a lot. I think that's maybe where this will come in. Obviously, professionals could be using it, but I would think the player who just thinks, I am who I am kind of thing, I just can't putt well. I think I would be curious to see, okay, is this going to shortcut it for me?
Absolutely.
All right.
Okay, well, let's get some stickers on one here. Okay, Matty, so we found your specs with the L.A.B putter. We know where we're going with that, but I think to get some baseline sort of numbers and get an idea of where your stroke is, let's use something that's a little bit closer to what you have. Your little Bobby Grace, Shiloh with the flow neck.
Yeah, similar neck.
Similar idea. This is the kind of Stroke Lab double wide, kind of little blade idea. It's a little mini mallet almost, actually.
Yeah, it's nice.
So let's hit a couple with that one.
Okay.
See what we've got. And we can do a little comparison. Are you thinking about changing putting to right-handed?
Yeah, I might. I've done it so many times. When I've been putting crap, I've gone and putt right-handed for like a few weeks.
Really?
Just to get my head out of it. I've done that like 5 times.
Just like hit reset?
I think it is, yeah. There's only so many negative thoughts a person can withstand.
So, let's see here. Club data. So, putter was a little bit open coming in and stayed open. Right, so
interesting.
Your rate of rotation is fairly low.
Okay.
So we have to match that up to the appropriate face angle in order to get the face back to impact at the right time.
Gotcha.
So different players have different rates of rotation. For someone who increases that rate, we need to reduce it. So if they're going to miss it too much to the left, you're in this case look more susceptible, if anything, to hanging that face a little bit open.
Yep, that makes sense.
So let's hit another one. Just make sure that that's what we see.
It does make sense. When I putt right-handed, if I miss, it's open. Okay. Which is why I like it, I think, because I always pull everything left-handed. Cross hinge.
Well, that's the other thing. We're choosing a putter right now that translates to a lefty stroke, but
they're pretty similar, just less demons.
Nice, very nice. Very nice. Okay. So let's see if we see the same thing. So low rate of rotation last time, 24 degrees per second. That was similar. Yeah, not a lot of green or blue up there, my boy, on that particular one.
What is an average rate of rotation?
I would say average would be around 40, 50, sometimes even as high as 60, 70 degrees.
Right.
So yours would be in this case low.
So that is less opening, less closing. That's basically all that means.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're holding it a little bit more square. So, to that point, we would want a putter that was, if we're going to go with a regular fit, be more face balanced in this case. We want a little bit less rotation.
Gotcha.
Okay. So, but these are some baseliners. You're super neutral with your path. 0.2 from square, nothing. Basically, you're straight down the line, 3 inches from and after impact.
Gotcha.
Okay, bud. Very nicely done. So that one delivered a little bit less rotation, but it got your face back to square more easily. Launch and spin were much, much better there as well. So the other ones were kind of launching a little bit high as a consequence of the face staying a little bit open.
Yep.
Obviously, when we had all the other putters in the revealer, they were all doing the same thing, weren't they? They were torquing open.
Yeah.
So in this sense, for you, a putter that wants to default to torque open when it's moved, for you is a disaster.
True, yeah, I can see
with your righty stroke.
Yeah.
So for you, the interesting thing with this guy, in that it returned, much more square there with less rotation, is this doesn't apply that force to it. So
what you're saying, basically, because it's not moving around, or not around, but not moving as much at all in the backswing.
Yeah. So the putter's not basically doing that, which is it's exactly what it wants to do.
Right.
If we could take this putter, and we see where it wants to default
to come up.
It wants to fall open. Like even if you just hang it in that position and let it go, like that's literally what it wants to do.
Yeah.
The face wants to rotate that way. For certain people, that's fantastic. If you apply too much force, counterclockwise, the putter moving clockwise is going to obviously cancel that out somewhat. So, you're trying to find that balance, but that's not you. Not missed one yet.
No.
Either way, either putter. Interesting.
They both work well.
You can actually see the launch and rotation, and that's really nice. It's got a little bit of lift and forward rotation.
It kind of feels a little hard to screw it up, to be honest. You've got so much real estate here on the face too.
Yeah.
That must be good, no?
It's a little better than good. It's pretty world class.
Some blue.
Interesting. So the path was a fraction more out to in there, but because you don't have that torque forcing clockwise, your club face isn't nearly as open coming into impact. So look at the journey to impact there. So you're 1.18 degrees open.
Yeah.
Then as it goes in half-inch increments closer to the hole. So 1.03, 0.89. So you're getting back to square at the right rate.
Okay.
With the other one, it's not that the rate was terrible with the other one. The putter was too open on the journey.
So it didn't reach square until after.
It had opened too much and just had too much.
It
was too much work to do to get back to square.
Yeah.
With that one. So whereas this one, it's much easier for you to do that.
It's interesting because that technically someone might look at that and go, well, you kind of cut across that a bit, like with the path.
Well, cut across, so face to path relationship. So if that path was, let's look at that. So the face was 0.15 open, nothing. Path was 1.8 left. So you basically have almost a 2 degree face to path relationship.
Right.
When it comes to putting, the face is everything.
Right.
So obviously the less loft you have, the more influence the face has on the launch direction.
Right.
So the fact that you got that face to square there is the much bigger deal.
So the path is less effective.
Correct. So when it comes to face to path, this is maybe the best way to explain it. When it comes to face to path relationship, so that was the face was 2 degrees open to the path.
Okay.
Right. If that path was 0 and the face was 2 degrees open, it's still the same face to path relationship, 2 degrees, but it's a disaster for the putt because the ball starts on the face line, much less influenced by the path.
Gotcha.
Right?
Gotcha.
So in this case, the face is the holy grail.
The face pointing at the target is what you want.
Correct.
Gotcha.
If you go back to someone like Billy Mayfair, remember Billy Mayfair's stroke?
Yeah.
How could someone with a stroke like that putt on the PGA Tour
that's a good
putt
point.
well? That's the value of club face versus path.
So his
that case.
putter was pointing at the hole.
Absolutely.
Even though it was
his
tracking
face
this
would
way.
return so square, even though his path was obviously moving in a different direction. And creating sort of some twists.
I just
on the
assumed
golf
he was,
ball.
I don't know, like spinning it.
Spinning it
I
in.
don't know, like it's crazy though.
So it's, in terms of the launch direction, I mean, obviously face to path has influence on twist of the golf ball.
Yeah.
But in terms of the launch direction, it's 90% face.
That's quite interesting.
Okay. Let's hit another one.
Sure.
That's really
That kind of got your
fascinating.
interest.
Yeah, big time. Well, look at that. So you've actually applied. You've applied next to 0 side spin in that.
I mean, if they all
Really
go in,
nice.
I don't think anyone's going to care, to be honest.
I think I think you're absolutely right. I think that's the key.
That's when
you
I saw
hole
the first
them,
time
who
I saw
cares?
it. Like, if it goes in, then
Who cares?
I think the difference is like I've made a few strokes; they haven't all felt great, but the ball keeps going in the hole.
Mm-hmm. So your golf ball is reacting really well to what's going on here. Let's see, interesting. So it's a really interesting thing what the putter design is doing to your stroke. It's making you basically hit down slightly more in the ball.
Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah, the positioning is very interesting. So you're applying very little. You're applying a little loft, not much. Shaft angle's ever so slightly further back there. That was because we moved the ball position up.
Yeah.
The rate of rotation is still staying really similar, Matty. So it's come down from sort of 26, 32 degrees, 20 degrees down to 17, 18, 17.
Wow. I think part of the reason that, at least for me, that I'd start getting a little bit down on it, the way, and I think it's a smart idea, you liked it too, the way that they've pre-leaned the shaft with the grip,
Yeah.
you have to not then, I don't know, like I'm probably still leaning it a bit when you don't need to.
There's so many people for me that kind of have the sort of hands in the wrong position, have the handle back. I mean, this forces the handle to be forward and in position.
Yeah.
I mean, we just moved your ball position there.
Exactly.
And that's what kind of changed it. But
I think what I need to do is, I was definitely focused on making sure that it sat flat in terms of lie, because that's how we fit it. But I think I also need to make sure it sits flat the whole head, not that it's leaning this way.
definitely.
Okay, so I'll try to sole this a little bit more. than
Okay.
before. How's that ball?
Yep, good.
Good. Felt like a good stroke.
Flusher. Yes, it's really good. I mean, numbers wise, it's excellent for you. Yeah, very minimal sort of closure rates for you with it, and it's all about, obviously, as we said, it's making sure that face doesn't get too open with too much work to do, because you don't let that face rotate too much.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, certainly a putter that would be one that you could definitely think of. What do you think of the visual and the alignment aids on top and stuff? Because they do offer different aids, whether it be, because everyone reacts differently, whether you've got lines, whether you've got sort of a half moon sort of shape.
This one I like that you're holding because it's got sort of the parallel T line.
Yeah,
I think
I like
a lot
that
of
as
people
well.
will like that. This is more kind of like an Odyssey 2-ball style.
Sure, yeah.
Frames it up. I've read some things that basically there's all different ways to, I guess, your brain for processing.
Whether you're sort of more dominant left eye, right eye, sort
Exactly.
of the way you sort of visualize the putt, where you see from your own perspective. And that's something we're going to get into when we do the Adele system.
That's right. And them and TaylorMade, Spider, you can change the, like there's a bunch of companies that I think have clued into that. The reason I want to do this right-handed is because I think it's easier for me to be completely open-minded. I don't have any sort of preference, and I don't have a whole sort of memory bank of how the stroke feels and performs. So I think just going into this with an open mind and just putting with it.
Yeah.
In a direction I don't usually putt right-handed, and getting good results, to me at least says, okay, I mean, you should be able to go in and see some consistency there.
I mean, it opens a big debate on sort of torque values on golf clubs in general. It really does, in whether you can torque balance a set of golf clubs. Whether even throughout your irons, whether torque values are different in different irons. I mean, when I was talking to Sam from L.A.B Golf, we were sort of discussing that, and potentially that being the next frontier for club evaluation measurements is
how that would work.
As to whether you can sort of modify or sort of affect the torque values, because when you look at things like frequency matching is just a way of making a set very balanced from a flex perspective, making sure that each shaft has the same sort of oscillation value. So it's just another thing for us to maybe start to think about when it comes to balancing a set.
Have you seen enough that you would be interested in fitting people with it? Like, you'd be interested in seeing what it does?
Yeah, I mean, I think you need to get kind of enough reps under your belt to understand the scenarios where you go to certain product.
You'll see it, yeah.
So I think for a little while, what I'll probably do is just in certain fits, and I'll see certain things. I'll go, okay, test this one, because I'll look at a player profile. They might have an in-to-out stroke. They might have a stroke where nothing seems to be working, and then introduce this and see what this does relative to all the other ones. You kind of need reps like that in order to understand what the putter does.
That makes a lot of sense.
Because I think that's the key to all of this thing, is making sure that you're using a putter that really is right for the way you stroke it.
Absolutely. Yep.
Interesting, isn't it?
That was good, yeah.
That's cool.
Yep.
Okay, guys, I'm sure this was kind of provoke a lot of questions, and feel free to leave them, obviously in the questions below, and we'll be happy to dive in there. And I'm sure there'll be updates as to how we're getting on with the system and the product. But you're going to go check them out, and I think you might start to see a few players, sneaking a few of these out on tour.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I agree.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Appreciate you watching, guys, and we'll see you again soon.